Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 1 hour. Trump vows strong action if protesters are hanged in Iran, urges Iranians to keep protesting and says help is on its way as death toll climbs to at least 2,000. Iran accuses US of seeking pretext for military intervention. India and the US discussed trade, critical minerals and nuclear power as US Secretary of State Marco Rubio and India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar hold a phone call. South Korean court to give verdict in ex-president's martial law case on February 19th as prosecutors seek death penalty for Yoon. US designates Egyptian, Lebanese and Jordanian branches of Muslim Brotherhood as global terrorists, citing their support for Hamas. Egypt welcomes the move while the group vows to challenge the decision. And in cricket, India to take on New Zealand in the second ODI in Rajkot with an aim to seal the series. Men in blue leading with 1-0 in 3-match series. US President Donald Trump on Tuesday warned Iran that the United States would react strongly if authorities in Iran started hanging people in their crackdown on a popular uprising against the government. In an interview, when asked about hangings potentially beginning on Wednesday, Trump said he believes that the killing is significant and that his administration would act accordingly. He also added that he believed the Iranian government was badly misbehaving. Trump comments came after Iranian authorities said that they will press charges punishable by death against some individuals arrested during recent demonstrations. Earlier, Trump urged Iranians to keep protesting and remember the names of those abusing them, saying help is on the way.
You're going to have to figure that one out, I'm sorry.
How many people have been killed in Iran?
Nobody's been able to give me an accurate number. I have heard numbers from, everything's a lot, one is a lot. But I've heard numbers much lower and I've heard numbers much higher. We'll be knowing, we're probably going to find out over the next 24 hours.
It's the highest number
I think it's a lot.
Speaking to reporters at a joint base, Andrews in Maryland, Trump said that Iran was on his mind and that he expected an update on the situation soon as death toll in Iran was unclear.
Iran is on my mind when I see the kind of death that is happening over there, we think. So we're going to get some accurate numbers. I'll have it in about 20 minutes. We'll get some accurate numbers as to what's happening with regard to the killing. The killing looks like it's significant, but we don't know yet for certain. I'll know within 20 minutes. So, and we'll act accordingly.
Iran, on the other hand, accused the United States of trying to create a justification for military intervention a day after US President Donald Trump warned of strong action in response to a deadly crackdown on widespread protests in the country. In a post on X, Iran's mission to the United Nations said US fantasies and policy towards Iran are rooted in regime change, with sanctions, threats, engineered unrest and chaos serving as the modus operandi to manufacture a pretext for military intervention. Meanwhile, an Iranian official said that at least 2,000 people had been killed, the first time authorities have given an overall death toll from more than 2 weeks of nationwide unrest. The United States on Tuesday designated the Egyptian, Lebanese and Jordanian branches of the Muslim Brotherhood as global terrorists. The move, which Washington formally set in motion last November, will bring sanctions against one of the Arab world's oldest and most influential Islamist movements. Washington accused the trio of supporting or encouraging violent attacks against Israel and US partners, citing in part what it called their support for Palestinian terrorist group Hamas. Egypt's foreign ministry welcomed the move, describing it as a crucial step that reflects the gravity of the group and its extremist ideology. It added that the group represents a direct threat of regional and international security and stability. The Muslim Brotherhood won Egypt's first free presidential election in 2012, but was overthrown by the military a year later after mass protests against its rule, and has endured a fierce crackdown by authorities since then. In the days since deposing Nicolas Maduro, President Trump has given several justifications for his dramatic action in Venezuela. But the thing Trump is most focused on, the one thing he keeps pointing to as central to his ambitions, is oil. Specifically, opening Venezuela's vast oil fields to American companies. He reiterated the same yet again on Tuesday while speaking at an event in Detroit. He said that the U.S. is taking in millions and millions of barrels of oil worth billions of dollars from the South American country, and in the passage will make that country very strong again.
We're bringing Venezuela back, and we're going to be great for Venezuela, great for our country. We're taking in, as I said, millions and millions of barrels of oil, and now they're coming in initially on a daily basis, 50 million, and values of over $5 billion. That's in one day. We're going to work with Venezuela. We'll make that country very strong again. We'll get oil prices down even further. We have it down at about a 6-year low, 7-year low, but we're going to get it down.
Meanwhile, Washington continues to consolidate control of oil shipments in and out of Caracas. The U.S. government has filed for court warrants to seize dozens of more tankers linked to the Venezuelan oil trade. The U.S. military and Coast Guard have seized 5 vessels in recent weeks in international waters that were either carrying Venezuelan oil or have done so in the past. Trump imposed a blockade to prevent sanctioned tankers from shipping Venezuelan oil in December that brought exports close to a standstill. Shipments have resumed this week under U.S. supervision. Venezuela's state energy company PDVSA has begun reversing oil production cuts made under a strict U.S. oil embargo as crude exports resume under U.S. supervision. The state company is now instructing the joint ventures to resume output from well clusters that were shut. Meanwhile, the third oil tanker set sail from Venezuela's coast on Tuesday, signaling a Bahamas terminal as destination. Notably, the OPEC members' oil exports fell close to zero in the weeks after U.S. imposed a blockade on oil shipments in December, with only U.S. oil major Chevron exporting crude from its joint ventures with PDVSA under the U.S. license. Demonstrations continued outside the federal building and within the communities nearly a week after the fatal shooting of Rennie Good by federal officer. Federal agents clashed with protesters in St. Paul and Minneapolis on Tuesday. At the Whipple Federal Building in St. Paul, federal agents deployed flashbangs as protesters shouted and confronted the officers. Authorities arrested at least one woman during the confrontation. Clashes also took place in Minneapolis, where federal agents deployed tear gas and paper belts towards protesters. U.S. President Donald Trump welcomed December inflation figures released on Tuesday, saying they supported his push for Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell to cut interest rates. Core consumer inflation eased to 2.6% year-on-year, slightly below expectations, while headline inflation held steady at 2.7%, unchanged from November. Trump said the figures showed inflation was very low and claimed this should prompt Fed Chair Jerome Powell to deliver a significant rate cut. Speaking to reporters before leaving for Detroit, Trump also highlighted what he described as failing crime rates, citing places such as Minnesota and Chicago, and credited his administration's actions against criminals who entered the U.S. illegally. Despite monthly price increases reinforcing expectations that rates will stay unchanged, Trump again criticized Powell, calling him incompetent or crooked amid growing backlash over an investigation into the Fed chair.
The inflation numbers just came out, and we have very low inflation, so that would give Too-Late Powell the chance to give us a nice, beautiful, big rate cut, which would be great for the country. Well, he's billions of dollars over budget, so he either is incompetent or he's crooked. I don't know what he is, but he doesn't do a very good job.
U.S. President Donald Trump on Tuesday rejected criticism from J.P. Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon over his attacks on the Federal Reserve, brushing aside concerns about weakening the central bank's independence. Speaking to reporters at Joint Base Andrews after returning from Michigan, Trump argued the Fed was mismanaged and should be lowering interest rates. He also took aim at the Fed chair, pointing out that the official term had been extended under former President Joe Biden. Trump maintained that Dimon's assessment was incorrect and reiterated his view that borrowing costs should be reduced.
Yeah, I think it's fine what I'm doing. We have a bad Fed person. He was extended by Biden. And yeah, I think he's wrong. I think it's wrong. He's done a bad job. We should have lower rates. Jamie Dimon probably wants higher rates. Maybe he makes more money that way.
The heads of major central banks rallied behind the U.S. Federal Reserve and its chair, Jerome Powell, stressing that protecting central bank independence was essential. Their joint statement followed an unprecedented move by U.S. prosecutors who issued subpoenas threatening criminal charges against Powell, widely viewed as an escalation of President Trump's campaign against the Fed. Powell responded by pledging to pursue monetary policy free from political influence. The statement, backed by leaders including ECB Chief Christine Lagarde and Bank of England Governor Andrew Bailey, praised Powell's integrity and commitment to the public interest. Trump, however, accused Powell of mismanaging an expensive Fed headquarters renovation and questioned his competence. J.P. Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon warned that political pressure on the Fed could prove counterproductive. Former Fed leaders and some Republican senators also condemned the investigation as an attack on Fed's independence. Global attention will turn to U.S. President Donald Trump next week as political and business leaders will arrive at the World Economic Forum seeking to reconcile the unpredictable. Trump with Davos's traditional embrace of open markets and multilateralism. After a year of rolling the liberal international order since his return to office, Trump will descend on the Swiss ski resort for an address on Wednesday at a meeting whose theme is a spirit of dialogue. Bosch Brandy, the forum's chief executive, said that the event will host its largest ever U.S. delegation with senior aides including the secretaries of the state and treasury, setting up high-level private talks on geopolitical issues. China is sending Vice Premier He Lifeng to Davos, while EU Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen and Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky will also attend. 6 of the group of 7 leaders will also make appearances. Only Japan will be absent. A trial in the lawsuit brought by Elon Musk against OpenAI CEO Samuel Altman and other defendants, including tech giant Microsoft, is scheduled to begin on April 27th, according to a federal court order issued on Tuesday. The case focuses on Musk's allegation that OpenAI abandoned its founding non-profit public interest mission and instead evolved into a profit-driven company closely tied to Microsoft. Musk claims Altman misled him by promoting OpenAI as a non-profit alternative to Google's DeepMind that would keep artificial intelligence open and beneficial to humanity. According to the lawsuit, OpenAI's leadership later restructured the organization, formed for-profit entities and entered multi-billion-dollar partnerships that violated those original principles. Musk, an OpenAI co-founder and early major backer, left in 2018. OpenAI later launched ChatGPT, while Musk went on to create rival AI firm Xi. You're watching DD India News. We're waiting for a short break, but after the break, plot to assassinate Costa Rica President Rodrigo Chavez busted on the eve of national elections. Uganda shuts down internet ahead of elections. President Yoweri Museveni to compete for a 7th term. Extreme winter weather wreaks havoc across Central Europe.
This week on Defense Dynamics, why India's development of electromagnetic railguns so important for modern battlefield doctrine? What is Drishti 10 and why is it emerging as a critical pillar of India's maritime security? Why India's successful conduct of long-duration ground test of scramjet combustor so strategic for India's hypersonic missile program? And in my take, we decode why Pakistan is pushing the JF-17 across the Islamic world. Watch Defense Dynamics this Wednesday at 8 PM IST only on DD India.
Meghalaya, the abode of clouds. A land so enchanting. It makes time stand still. With a distinctive and ethnic culture and vibrant tribal folklore. Filled with the goodness of nature. Every day here is an adventure. Home to music, passion, and to hopes and ambitions. Welcome to the magical land of Meghalaya.
Welcome back. After the break, you're watching DD India Newshour. South Korea's special prosecutor requested the death penalty on Tuesday for former President Yoon Suk Yeol on charges of masterminding an insurrection over his brief imposition of martial law in December 2024. South Korea has not carried out a death sentence in nearly 3 decades. In closing arguments at the Seoul Central District Court, a prosecutor said that investigators confirmed the existence of a scheme allegedly directed by Yoon and his former defense minister Kim Yong-yoon, dating back to October 2023, designed to keep Yoon in power. Although Yoon has denied the charges, saying he declared martial law to fend off the wickedness that would ruin the nation, the court is expected to rule on the case in February. Atrocities against minorities in Bangladesh continue to raise serious concerns even as the country prepares for a national election and faces mounting criticism over governance and reforms.
Atrocities against Hindus in Bangladesh continue to raise serious concerns as a 20-year-old Hindu auto rickshaw driver, Sameer Kumar Das, was beaten and stabbed to death in Feni district on Sunday night, adding to a growing list of violent incidents involving members of minority communities. The attackers fled with a CNG auto rickshaw. Police say the investigations are underway.
We are heavily invested emotionally, politically in Bangladesh. It is India which walked the extra mile in 1971 and stopped the persecution and the torture which was being inflicted on the then people of East Pakistan and created Bangladesh. So we have a history which I do think the Bangladeshis would also be cognizant about.
अभी बांग्लादेश गवर्नमेंट ने जो रॉन्ग रास्ता पे जो जा रहा है ये गलत है, सही नहीं है. इसको रोकना गवर्नमेंट का करते हुए
Meanwhile, as Bangladesh prepares for its general election, gender disparity has drawn criticism. Of the 2,568 candidates in the fray, only 109 are women. Women's rights groups have accused political parties and the election commission of failing to ensure meaningful female representation. On the other hand, Transparency International Bangladesh has criticized the interim government led by Mohammad Yunus over 8 recent ordinances, alleging reforms were weakened by bureaucratic interference. TIB said a lack of consultation and resistance from vested interests have undermined transparency and accountability. Violence, exclusion, and reform setbacks are putting Bangladesh's governance under sharp scrutiny ahead of polls, with killings of Hindus raising serious law and order concerns. Bureau Report, DD India.
Costa Rica's government on Tuesday said it had uncovered a plot to assassinate President Rodrigo Chavez on the eve of national elections in which his right-wing party is tipped for victory. The popular Chavez, constitutionally barred from seeking a second consecutive term, has backed one of his former ministers, Laura Fernandez, to succeed him. Fernandez is riding high in polls with a campaign to crack down hard on drug traffickers, blamed for a surge in violence and the picture postcard Caribbean country. Jorge Torres, head of the Central American nation's Directorate of Intelligence and National Security, cited a confidential source as informing the agency that an assassin had been paid to kill Chavez. Ugandan authorities cut internet across the area and limited mobile services across the country on Tuesday, 2 days before an election in which President Yoweri Museveni will stand for a contentious 7th term after 4 decades in power. The Uganda Communications Commission ordered mobile service providers to shut down public internet connections in order to curb misinformation, disinformation, electoral fraud and related risks. Security forces have detained hundreds of opposition supporters in the run-up to the election and repeatedly fired live bullets and tear gas at campaign events in support of Museveni's leading challenger, pop star Bobby Wine. Uganda's government had on December 22nd dismissed claims that it planned to shut down the internet during January 15th election. French far-right leader Marine Le Pen said on Tuesday that she had no sense of having committed any offence at the opening of an appeals trial, which she hopes will save her 2027 run for president. The appeal comes after a French court last year barred Le Pen, leader of the far-right National Rally, from running for office for 5 years over a European Parliament fake jobs scam. If the ban is upheld, she will not be able to stand in the 2027 presidential election. Le Pen was also handed a 4-year prison sentence with 2 years suspended and fined $116,000 in initial trial. The case at the Paris Court of Appeal will last until 12th of February, but a ruling in Central Europe, freezing rain led to travel disruptions, including flights being temporarily suspended at several airports. Extreme winter weather briefly closed Budapest airport on Tuesday due to black ice and extreme icing, grounding flights and causing major disruption to travelers. The closure caused a backlog of delayed flights and a small number of cancellations. A thick layer of ice on the Vienna airport runway led to a temporary shutdown, with flights gradually resuming around midday on Tuesday. In neighboring Slovakia, the Bratislava airport was also closed temporarily early on Tuesday due to bad weather. Also in the Czech Republic, ice was also hampering road and rail traffic. Prague airport came to a virtual standstill, with firefighters having to de-ice the runways. The cold wave continues to grip large parts of India, bringing dense fog to cities and fresh snowfall in higher mountain regions. Delhi recorded its coldest January morning in 3 years on Tuesday as the minimum temperature dropped to 3 degrees Celsius. Cold wave conditions are likely to persist over Delhi on Wednesday as well. Delhi Airport issued an advisory early on Wednesday informing low visibility procedures are in progress and all flight operations are currently normal. Cold wave to severe cold wave conditions are very likely to prevail in some parts of Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh on Wednesday and Thursday. Himachal Pradesh may soon witness an end to a prolonged dry spell, but only in the higher reaches, with Shimla forecasting light rain or snowfall for 3 days starting Thursday. Further north in the Kashmir region, Srinagar recorded a minimum temperature of minus 4.9 degrees Celsius, while Srinagar airport settled lower at minus 5.8 degrees Celsius. Jammu woke up to intense cold with dense fog covering the city and the minimum temperature setting at 3.8 degrees Celsius. Pulwama emerged among the coldest places in the valley with a minimum of minus 6.6 degrees Celsius. Conditions are becoming favourable for cessation of monsoon rains over Tamil Nadu, Puducherry and the adjoining areas of coastal Andhra Pradesh. Isolated rainfall activity is likely over Kerala, Lakshadweep and Nicobar Islands. Dense fog conditions are also likely during morning hours in isolated pockets over Sikkim, Assam and Meghalaya in the coming few days. You're watching DD India News Hour. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, Prime Minister Modi to attend Pongal celebrations in Delhi as the nation marks the Harvest Festival. We get to a special report on Makar Sankranti, a festival rooted in both science and spirituality. We also take you deep inside Lakhimpur to get a flavour of Bhogali Bihu, the annual festival of Assam.
स्वागत आहे टू मैग्नेटिक महाराष्ट्र.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. A quick relook at the top stories now. Trump vows strong action if protesters are hanged in Iran. urges Iranians to keep protesting and says help is on its way as death toll climbs to at least 2,000. Iran accuses US of seeking pretext for military intervention. India and the US discussed trade, critical minerals and nuclear power as US Secretary of State Marco Rubio and India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar hold a phone call. South Korea court to give verdict in ex-president's martial law case on February 19th as prosecutors seek death penalty for Yoon. US designates Egyptian, Lebanese and Jordanian branches of the Muslim Brotherhood as global terrorists, citing their support for Hamas. Egypt welcomes the move while the group vows to challenge the decision. And in cricket, India to take on New Zealand in the second ODI in Rajkot with an aim to seal the series. Men in blue leading with 1-0 in 3-match series. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar held a telephonic conversation with the US Secretary of State Marco Rubio on Tuesday. The two leaders held detailed discussion on trade, critical minerals, nuclear cooperation, defense and energy. Both sides agreed to remain in touch on these and other issues. India has underscored the importance of securing critical minerals supply chains to power its clean energy and electronics growth. In attendance at a high-level ministerial meeting in the US, India's Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav said that access to critical minerals is vital for India's manufacturing resilience and climate goals. The Indian government is advancing the push through the National Critical Minerals Mission to support energy transition and electric mobility.
India on Monday participated in the Critical Minerals Ministerial Meeting hosted by US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent in Washington. India's Minister of Electronics and IT, Ashwini Vaishnav, represented the country in the high-level meeting. The minister said that strengthening critical mineral supply chains is vital to enhancing the resilience of India's manufacturing capabilities and rapidly growing electronics sector.
As we all know, and especially in India, when the manufacturing sector is growing rapidly, especially electronics manufacturing, it's very important for all the countries, including India, to have a resilient supply chain of critical minerals. So in this meeting, participants from various countries, they discussed their experience, the steps that they are taking in making the supply chain resilient, especially technology for refining, processing the mineral ores so that high quality critical minerals, especially the rare earth, permanent magnets, those kind of materials can be secured in a long term, in a sustainable manner.
India's stance on critical minerals, reiterated by IT Minister Ashwini Vaishnav, highlights the country's commitment to its climate goals, which are 45% reduction in emissions intensity of GDP by 2030 from 2005 levels, 50% of installed power capacity from non-fossil sources by 2030, net zero emissions by 2070. The government says access to critical minerals is key to meeting India's long-term energy transition objectives. To achieve these climate goals, India launched the National Critical Mineral Mission in 2025. Its objective is to establish robust framework for self-reliance in the critical mineral sector. Under this mission, the Geological Survey of India has been tasked with holding 1,200 exploration projects from 2024-25 to 2030-31. The mission plays a vital role by building a resilient and self-reliant ecosystem for critical minerals. The mission focuses on boosting domestic production, encouraging private sector participation, strengthening international partnerships, and streamlining regulations to ensure a steady supply of minerals essential for clean energy technologies. The mission aims to secure India's critical mineral supply chain by ensuring mineral availability from domestic and foreign sources. Critical minerals have immense value in terms of being used as essential components of various clean energy technologies and industries like solar energy, wind energy, and as components in the making of electric vehicles. Under India's National Electric Mobility Mission plan, the country plans to deploy 6 to 7 million EVs, leading to increased demand for these critical minerals. Bureau Report, DD India.
As the nation is celebrating Pongal, a 4-day harvest festival, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be attending the celebrations at the residence of Union Minister of State L. Murugan in New Delhi. Across India's southern state of Tamil Nadu, the spirit of Pongal is already in the air. The 4-day festival reflects unity, tradition and joy.
Students in Tamil Nadu's Thoothukudi district are taking part in celebrations ahead of the annual harvest festival, Pongal. Dressed in traditional outfits, students in schools and colleges are showcasing their skills in folk dances and music.
Parents enjoyed a lot. There were many skits and Tamil songs were sung. We showed traditional pots. We were taken on bullock cart rides. We enjoyed a lot. We were served Pongal too. It was delicious.
At the Government Nursing Training College, students participated in games and cultural programs in the spirit of equality.
We celebrated Samatuva Pongal, keeping all difference among us away. We played many traditional Tamil games. We also performed Tamil folk arts. We pray that everyone should be able to celebrate Pongal like we did.
At Holy Heart College in Tirupattur, African students joined in the celebrations with equal excitement. In Madurai, preparations are in full swing for the Avaniyapuram Jallikattu, the bull taming event held around Pongal. Some foreign nationals participated in a Pongal event held at Tiruchirappalli District Collectorate. Government officials too immersed themselves in the Pongal spirit at Theni District Collectorate. The 4-day Pongal festival will be celebrated across Tamil Nadu from Wednesday.
Large-scale community kitchens are ensuring that no pilgrim goes hungry as Prayagraj in Uttar Pradesh state hosts Magh Mela. With thousands arriving every day, these kitchens combine modern machinery with divine devotion to serve free meals on a large scale. From high-capacity machines that make the roti, the sort of flatbread, to round-the-clock volunteers, food distribution centers are fully prepared for the rush on major bathing days.
Large-scale bhandaras or community kitchens have been set up across Prayagraj as the Magh Mela continues to draw thousands of devotees every day. These Annakshetras or food distribution centers at the sprawling grounds serve free meals to thousands of pilgrims. They are equipped with large machines capable of mass production of rotis. A single machine can make up to 2,000 rotis an hour, ensuring that the bhandaras can serve large numbers of people in a very short time.
क्या है कि भीड़ का जो अभी जो गवर्नमेंट की गाइडलाइंस है, जैसा कि आप जानते हैं कि 15 से 20 करोड़ लोगों की है, तो उसी की तरीके से हम लोग पहले से हम लोग प्रिपेयर्ड हैं. इसीलिए अपनी पास लेटेस्ट मशीनरी है जिसके मतलब माध्यम से हम लोग बहुत सारे लोगों को बहुत ही कम समय में भोजन करवा सकते हैं. और एक मशीन जो आपकी है वो 1 घंटे में 2000 रोटी देती है. तो अभी जब दोनों मशीन चलने लगेगी तो 1 घंटे में 4000 रोटी मिलेगी. अगर 5 घंटे आपकी चलती है तो लगभग 20,000 रोटी आपकी तैयार होगी. तो 5000 लोग भोजन करेंगे. और जब सेवा का स्तर बढ़ेगा, 10,000 लोग होंगे तो 10 घंटे मशीन चलेगी.
The organizers of these bhandaras say they are well prepared to handle the expected rush on major bathing days.
लगभग नित्य 5000 की संख्या में हम लोगों को प्रसाद वितरण कर रहे हैं, भोजन करा रहे हैं. 2 मशीन हमारी आटा सेकने की लगी हुई है, निरंतर चल रही है. और हमारी तैयारी है कि आने वाले महा स्नान पर्व मौनी अमावस्या पर अगर 50,000 लोग भी यहाँ आते हैं तो उनको बड़े प्रेम से भोजन कराया जाएगा।
Each Bhandara serves meals to between 5,000 and 10,000 people daily. With machines churning out rotis faster than they can be consumed, no pilgrim goes hungry, no matter how long the queues.
The sun begins its northwards journey today. India celebrates Makar Sankranti, a festival that marks the triumph of light over darkness, warmth over winter, and hope over hardship. Rooted in both science and spirituality, this ancient observance honors the sun, the seasons, and the farmers of India. Here's a report.
Makar Sankranti is one of the few festivals that falls on the same date across India, yet wears 1,000 colors. In Gujarat, Uttarayan fills the sky with vibrant kites, symbolizing freedom, joy and aspiration. In Punjab and Haryana, Lori bonfires glow as families sing, dance and offer thanks for the harvest. Across villages and cities, homes are cleaned, sweets are prepared and families come together celebrating not just crops but continuity. Beyond festivity, Makar Sankranti holds deep spiritual meaning. Devotees across North India take holy dips in rivers like the Ganga and Yamuna, believing the sun's northward movement brings purification and renewal. Prayers are offered to Suryadev, the sun god, seeking health, prosperity and inner balance. In Bihar and West Bengal, the festival is known as Posh Sankranti. Riverbanks become centers of devotion, fairs and community gatherings, blending faith with celebration. In southern India, the festival takes the form of Pongal and Sankranti Sambaralu, celebrated over 4 days in Tamil Nadu, Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh. Homes are adorned with colorful columns or rangoli and special dishes made from freshly harvested rice, jaggery and milk are prepared, offering gratitude to the sun, cattle and the land. From north to south, east to west, Makar Sankranti beautifully reflects India's unity in diversity, a nation thanking nature, honoring tradition and welcoming new beginnings. Kriti Vadhera's report for DD India.
And from the crunch of the famous til pita and the melt-in-the-mouth goodness of Narikol Laru to the smoky flavor of Sunga Sol, Assam is all set for the festival of the year, that is Bhogali Bihu. The toil of farmers has fructified and is ready to be served on the platters of Assamese households. Our correspondent Subina Roy takes us to the village of Dhakuakhana to experience the authentic feel of Bhogali Bihu. Take a look.
A 67-kilometer drive from Dibrugarh lands us in the beautiful village of Kathorbari in Dhakuakhana, Lakhimpur district. Known for its rich natural beauty, especially during the mustard season when it's called the Yellow Paradise. A perfect sight to witness the authentic Bhogali festivities of Assam. Situated just next to the Brahmaputra river, each one of the villagers have their barns now filled with paddy, and now it's time to celebrate Bhogali Bihu. The first day of Magh Bihu is known as Uruka. The youngsters are busy cutting wood, preparing the traditional bhelaghors. This time, they have decided on the theme of radio, as villagers still connect with the traditional media of Doordarshan and radio. A feast is being prepared by the youngsters of the Kathorbari village as they pass the night in the bhelagors, warming themselves up by the fire and making use of the vegetables that they steal from the backyards of the villagers, which is considered an age-old tradition. The conjunction of the month of Posh and Magh is known as Bhogali Bihu in Assam. And during this eve, you can see local women, local men, the villagers come together and celebrate the harvesting season, where each and every Assamese households have their rice barns filled with rice, and no household is left poor. And you visit any household of Assam and you will get food out there. And that is why it is called Bhogali Bihu. Happy Bhogali Bihu with dedicated Dibrugarh team, Subina Roy, DD India.
All right, Subina is joining us from Dibrugarh, Assam. Subina, good morning. A happy Bhogali Bihu to you. We've seen your detailed report telling us about the celebrations of Bhogali Bihu, and I see a very vibrant day, sunlit day behind you. Tell us how is the day beginning when we talk of celebrations of Bhogali Bihu there, and also help us understand the relevance of the festival with the youth, with the present generation in Assam.
Right. A very happy Makar Sankranti to all the viewers of DD India and Preeti, you as well. As you know, this Magh Bihu is associated with the nature as the sun is moving towards the northern hemisphere right from today onwards. So this phenomena is celebrated across India, and not just as in the form of Pongal or Makar Sankranti, but also in the form of Magh Bihu, which is celebrated in Assam. Now, during the month of Posh, when the villagers and the farmers have completed their paddy cultivation, the harvest is at their home, their barns are filled with rice, and now, you know, it's time to feast. The youngsters and the women, men, they come together. It is a, you know, as you said, what is the relevance? You know, it is the bonhomie of the community to strengthen the community stronghold, and in the households of the villages it is celebrated. So the villagers are there on the eve of Bihu, that is the previous yesterday. They prepared the feast with the local vegetables. There is a tradition of stealing the local vegetables, fishes from the backyards. You know, it brings up, you know, enjoyment and then bonhomie, brotherhood among the village, among the people of Assam. And then they prepare the feast on the night of Uruka. Now, like in Gujarat, you said, like people celebrate it with kites, you know, flying kites prepared with different themes. So same here for Assam. People make bhelagors, especially the youngsters, you know, who are called as Deka Loras. They prepare bhelagors out of different themes, you know, the current themes which are running across the world, across the nation, across the state. So this time, you know, the bhelagors which have come into the social media are of Zubin Garg or bhelagors related to Philips radio. So different kinds of current issues are made in these bhelagors, which are prepared by the youngsters. They prepare the feasts throughout the night, and they dance, they eat, and the women, the local women out there make different kinds of pitas. There are glutinous rice, different kinds of rice varieties, Preetis, which are cultivated in Assam. So some are glutinous, these are known as Bora Saul, then Kumul Saul. Then out of these, you know, pitas are make rice cakes, which serve the platters of Assamese cuisines. They are like til pita, which is very famous in Assam, and now it's not just famous in Assam, but I think across the world. Wherever you go in Assam, you will be served til pita. Then we have sunga pitha, then we have tel pithas, which are prepared in oil-based pithas, preferably known as malpuas in other parts of the country, but with a different regional touch, prepared with bora rice. So
Right.
we have pithas, rice cakes prepared from oil-based, water-based, and different kinds of feast. And today morning, the relevance, you said, the spiritual relevance is that they pray to the god fire. They burn mejis. A meji bonfire is prepared, which is burnt, and then the pithas, ma khorai, that is black gram, akhoi, and different kinds of grains that have been cultivated across the year, that is offered to the sun god and the god fire, like meji.
Yes.
Meji is like ancestors, G, Ye is like fire, and J is like fly away. Like
Right.
when you offer to the god of fire, the ancestors get happy and they just get moksha. So this is the relevance, and even today, it is a festival of community. And that is why it is still important among the generations, and it keeps the Assam youngsters
All
alive
right.
in the spirit of Bihu Preeti.
All right, Sabina. So that was a wholesome, extensive explanation of Bhogali Bihu. Thank you so much for joining in with those insights and those updates. And from here, after all those festivities, we now turn focus to sports. India take on New Zealand in the second one-day international in Rajkot on Wednesday with an aim to seal the series. With 1-0 lead in the three-match series, Men in Blue will hope to press the home advantage to gain the decisive lead. But Kiwis are not a pushover, as they have showed their mettle in the opener by putting up a spirited fight. The stage is all set for a thrilling contest, with both the teams eyeing the crucial win.
India will aim to clinch another one-day international when they lock horns with New Zealand in the second encounter at Rajkot. India lead the three-match series by 1-0 with a 4-wicket victory in the opening encounter. Virat Kohli once again played a match-winning 93-run knock, while Shubman Gill scored vital half-century and Shreyas Iyer looked solid following his return from injury. There were also positives for New Zealand. Openers Devon Conway and Henry Nichols both slammed 50s, while Daryl Mitchell came up with an impressive 84-run knock. Kylie Jamieson was arguably the best pacer with 4 wickets. India would hope to press home advantage once again to outplay the Kiwis. The hosts suffered a setback when Washington Sundar was ruled out of the series due to an injury. The selectors have called up Delhi batter Ayush Badoni, but it is likely that all-rounder Nitish Kumar Reddy will get the nod. Overall, both the teams have played 121 ODIs, with India holding the upper hand with 63 victories, while New Zealand were victorious in 50 matches. One match ended in tie and 7 produced no result. In the last 5 matches, India have dominated New Zealand, winning all. Now the stage is set for an exciting second one-day as both the teams aim to gain an upper hand. Sports Desk, DD India.
All right, Narayan Singh is joining us to get us more. Narayan, good morning. India is leading the series by 1-0. Do we expect the good run to continue as well?
Definitely. If you take a look at the first ODI, where we saw an inexperienced New Zealand side drag the full strength Indian side till the 49th over. In that context, we can say that New Zealand played a fantastic cricket, but here India will look to seal the series, because we know that India, the way their top order fired in the first ODI against New Zealand, Virat Kohli, we saw fantastic knock in the final leg of his career, and even we saw Shubman Gill played a fantastic knock, even Shreyas Iyer down the order. So overall, the Indian team is looking good, but kudos to the New Zealand side. Even if we call them they're not a B side, even a C side, they played exceptionally well. Their key players were rested. If you take a look at this series, out of the 15-member squad, 8 were playing in India for the first time. And after that, if 2 players are even haven't played any international cricket, and 1 player hasn't played ODI cricket. So in that context, we can say that New Zealand is a fantastic side. Their bench strength is good. But considering the fact that today, will India go for to seal the series, or whether they will go for the experimentation, it remains to be seen. If you take a look in the last match, priority was given to Prasiddhi Krishna in place of Arshdeep Singh. But here, will Arshdeep will get a chance or not? It remains to be seen. Talking about the top order, if you take a look, India's top order where Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill and Virat Kohli are looking settled. But if you talk about the rotation policy, the hint that was given by the captain, Shubman Gill, but this time around, will they give a chance to Yashasvi Jaiswal or not? It remains to be seen. But overall, we think this is not a ODI World Cup year. This is a T20 World Cup year. So in that context, I don't think it series means a lot to both the teams, because if you take a look, New Zealand's main players are practicing for the T20 leg against India and the ODI T20 World Cup that will take place next year in India and Sri Lanka. So overall, it's we can say that they can just try their combination here, their best players, so that they get some match practice, so that when the T20 World Cup will come, they will get ready for that. Overall, I think India has an upper hand, but toss once again will be crucial in this match. But kudos to New Zealand, despite of losing the toss in the previous match, they finally dragged India till the 49th over. In that context, I think India will be worried a little bit, because here any team who wins the toss definitely will try to bowl first, because bowling second will be difficult under due.
All right, so let's hope to see how the day pans out ahead for both the teams. Thank you so much, Narayan, for joining in with those updates. And with that, we end this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. Now, this app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can download the respective QR codes. We will be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.